Hello, everyone. It's a Monday afternoon, and you are listening to Prism Back Matter on KBVR FM. Today, we have an awesome guest on air with us. He was featured in our most recent edition of Prism, our fall 2014 issue. Nicholas Browning, everybody, is here with us. Say hello.
Hi. Thank you for having me. Happy to be here.
We're a show that interviews student artists and writers and all creative types. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
I'm an English major, junior year, so I'm trucking along. 29, so I started college really late. Worked a bunch of odd jobs before starting school. And now I am just excited to be able to share a bit of one of my passions, which is writing crazy stories.
What caused the delay?
Okay. After high school, I thought I was going to be a rock star. I was in a band. I played the drums. We were punk rock. So I was like, all right, I can delay college for a couple of years and pursue my dreams, which was fun. We had a lot of good times, but in the end, I wasn't famous. I'm not even close to famous. I don't regret it, really. After that, I worked a bunch of jobs to help save up for school. I'm from Idaho, so I moved to Oregon. My family came here every summer since I was like 3 for our family reunions, and we'd go to the coast and we'd camp out in the woods. I love the coast. I lived there. That's where I lived. I worked at this beach club. I got to go surfing every day in the summers, and it was just great.
The coast is actually featured in the story that you have in Prism. What about the coast has an influence on you?
I got some advice once to base your stories off some realism. Okay. The house featured in the story is the actual house I lived in, and it's my grandparents' house. In order to bring things more life, you give them a little bit of truth. And I guess the reason why the coast speaks to me so much is because it has so much life. And if you've been out there during crazy fogs or just super high tide, it has a sort of etherealness to it when you can barely see anything, but you know the ocean's right there. I thought the setting would be best applicable to such a strange story.
It is a strange story. Give us a little bit of background on Harold.
Oh man, this is one of those things that I was trying to be as weird and creepy as possible. So I just started brainstorming and, creeping around in your roommate's room while they're sleeping, snipping their armpit hair. I mean, it started out as humorous, but the more I thought about it, I was like, well, I can turn this into something really strange and really creepy, and maybe I can make it entertaining enough to people don't think I'm insane and they actually want to read this story. I was like, all right, so hair. And then I thought about like voodoo, like simulacrums or whatever they're called. So anyways, I was like, all right, let's make a doll out of people's armpit hairs, but let's have it be sentient, and maybe this guy be obsessed with bringing it to life. As part of the story, I wanted to never really say for certain if Harold had some sort of magicalness that he was alive, or if the narrator was just insane. I kind of wanted to leave that ambiguous up to the reader.
So I'm actually going to have you read it now. Without further ado, this is Harold by Nicholas Browning.
Harold is made of other people's armpit hairs, and he's my best friend. Harold is a special friend, an entity I have devoted the better part of a year to help bring to life. In order to do this, Harold has ordered me to collect armpit hairs from various persons and fashion them into the shape of a tiny human. It's been a tedious process, piecing together his body and each limb with such care, using materials collected from an assortment of unsuspecting donors. Yet each new strand of potent, wiry hair has carried us one step closer to our goal. And now I am ecstatic to announce Harold is almost complete. I pull into my grandparents' driveway, hefting my backpack of supplies over one shoulder. Laptop, change of clothes, toothbrush, my G19 Gen 4 Glock I never would travel without, and of course my favorite companion, Harold. I'm here, I shout, pushing open the living room door and thrusting myself inside. I'm greeted with a crackling fireplace, a house decorated with too many robins and cardinals and paintings done by family members, an array of bright lights necessary only by standards of the old. Hello, Brad, you hungry? My grandma asks, already slaving away in the kitchen. She's plump, 70-something, and a bead of sweat clings precariously to the hook on her old nose. Nah, Gram. I set my backpack gently against the wall before hustling into the kitchen to wrap her in a hug. Where's Grandpa? Took the dog for a walk. He'll be back soon. Cool, I say, popping a handful of peanuts into my mouth. There always seems to be one of those cans of peanuts around my grandparents. I'm going to go put my stuff away. All right, dear. Supper should be ready in a couple hours, she says, slamming the oven door shut and bustling to the fridge, always in a hurry for some reason. Sounds good. I'm already in the other room, hugging my backpack to my chest, envisioning Harold confined inside. I get to stay in the nice loft since the rest of my family ended up not getting plane tickets. It's on the second floor, an open floor plan facing west with a balcony that looks down on the first floor. The side of the house is fashioned completely of windows, affording a gorgeous view upon the Pacific Ocean, curling on the shores just a couple hundred yards away. I used to love the ocean, but hardly spared a glance as I unzipped my backpack and reached for my friend. Harold is a little claustrophobic, and I don't like to keep him closeted in tight spaces for long. You okay, little buddy? I ask, petting the mound of bristling hairs, some still clumped with white pods of dandruff. Harold smiles back at me, assuring me he is fine. I can't help marveling at his beauty, a myriad of dark browns and blacks, tinged with a few special blondes. I fuss with his most recent addition, blonde hairs lining his arms like veins, taken from my roommate just a night back while he slept. I had slipped into his room with those little clippers I think they reserve for nose hairs, summoned the ninja skills I'm sure I possess, and crept towards his bed. It had been a simple thing, slipping the tiny gold shears beneath the shirt sleeve, making sure he was positioned in a manner so that none of my precious cargo could go to waste. Another successful mission, and Harold was one step closer to completion. "Whew, getting cold out there," my grandpa explains, pushing through the downstairs door. I hear the dangling dog tags clinking against Skeeter's collar. "Brad's upstairs," my grandma says. "Hello, Brad," Grandpa shouts up. "I'm going to take a quick shower to warm up." "Hey, Grandpa," I smile from the balcony. I go down the stairs to greet the dog and can't help catching a glimpse through a crack in my grandpa's doorway. He's changing in his room, and as he stretches up his arms to pull off his sweater, I see the most beautiful cluster of silver strands. Adrenaline pummels my brain and I begin to breathe fast, almost hyperventilated, and I find myself walking towards his room. The dog brushes against my side, tongue lolling from its mouth, but I ignore it. Something like a drug-induced daze has hit me, and I am locked like a laser on my grandpa and the treasure he hoards beneath his arms. "Whoa, Brad, I'm changing," he says as I ease open the doorway. I grin to set him at ease. He's in his tidy whities, though they bear a faint musty yellow color from long use. Pale, splotched skin and a pouting gut make up his torso, but I hardly notice. All that matters is what's beneath those arms. "Grandpa, mind if I clip a couple armpit hairs?" I ask, brandishing my pair of little gold clippers and sidling forth in a reassuring manner. "What the hell?" "It's for a science experiment," I lie, still moving forward. "Brad, stop it," he says, holding up his hands in a defensive manner. "Emma," he shouts at my grandma. "It's really important, Grandpa," I insist, almost within arm's length now. "Get out of my room, Brad," he growls through a gruff silver beard. His eyes narrow beneath drooping brows and his hands ball into fists. I reach into the back of my pants and pull out my trusty Glock. "You're giving me those hairs." I smile and raise the gun to his face. He's cowering now, all thought of being a tough guy gone. "Brad, please, I don't understand." Graham bowls into the room, knocking into my back and almost pushing me over. I catch my balance, but Grandpa is charging now too. A shower of red splatters against the walls and my ears are ringing like crazy and I feel wet on my face. Graham shrieks and runs from the room. I hustle to my grandpa's side, ignoring a red lopsided head and pink spongy things scattered about. I lift his arms, my fingers shaking so much I can barely keep the clippers straight, but manage to snip my prize. I sprint back upstairs and begin piecing the final pieces of Harold together as best I can, though my heart is blasting so hard against my chest I'm afraid it'll burst. The silver strands shine within his body like arteries. Harold urges me to hurry. My grandma's on the back deck, waddling towards the beach, cell phone to her ear. It doesn't matter. Nothing else matters but Harold. I hug him to my cheek, and press his bristly hide against my lips and breathe deep his dandruff musk scent, overwhelmed with joy. Harold is alive.
I think the thing that makes this piece so interesting is the sense of abruptness. Why were those choices made?
I think there's all sorts of tactics writers try to employ to make their stories good. I think in this case, the abruptness, the quickness of it highlights just how unhinged the narrator is. And he hasn't planned ahead of time to kill his grandpa, but he's so obsessed with his mission to bring this thing to life that as soon as he sees those hairs, he just loses it. I think these things do happen quick. I tried to keep it short just because I wanted to have the reader be like, wow, what did I just read and how do I feel about it?
What's the most important thing that you want to come across when people read or listen to this piece?
I like trying to make difficult situations interesting. I like trying to get people to like people they wouldn't normally like. And in this case, the narrator's a horrible person, and he's obviously disturbed, and he's doing something utterly irredeemable. This guy needs to be locked up. But at the same time, I wanted to see if I could get people to read a story about him from his perspective and find some sort of entertainment value in it. And I think that's part of the fun of writing, is seeing if you can get people to find some part of this strange person that they enjoy.
Is that true of all of your work?
Oh, I think so, yeah. Anti-heroes are definitely my favorite thing to write, which I hope doesn't say strange things about me too much. But I just think they're so fun to see how far you can push the envelope, give them, a couple redeeming qualities, but still have them do utterly horrible things. And at the end of the day, see if you can get people to like them.